Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. But right now it's going to be 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. till this Friday. And Monday, we'll be back to 7 to 9 a.m. But thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. I'm hoping the stream is a little bit better this morning. I figured out I was running too many monitors during my stream, so it's kind of taken away from the stream. So we've gotten rid of the monitors. I'm down to one monitor. I love having like more than one so I can have different screens going, but I hope the stream is going better. Please let me know in the comments. So happy Wednesday, everyone. Today is Women and Wellness Wednesday, and it is open mic. So for anybody who would like to join the show, please let me know in the comment section and I will send you the link or, through a DM, right? Through a direct message on X, or you can email unfilteredvisionnews@gmail.com and I can send you the link that way. So, again, thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News. And with that, let's get to our Kids Corner. So that was just a little bit of inspiration. And just remembering, sometimes we do get down when things don't succeed the way we think they should, or our ideas seem to fail. And we're like, we're a failure. We're never good at anything. It's just don't give up. Stay focused and stay inspired because a lot of times problems they come, but sometimes things are built out of problems, right? I just remember, back in 2020 when we were all locked down and staying home and everybody was like, what are we going to do? Well, a lot of people took advantage of that time and they started new businesses and they did very well. So just remember, you're not a failure. Whatever it is you're trying to succeed at, just take a step back and look at it a different way. And with that, let's get into our daily prayer, honoring God with our body. God, please protect our mind and guard our thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect my ears and help me listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth and protect my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. God, please protect my reproductive organs. God, help me to honor you with purity. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect my feet as I walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. And that is something that we need to remember how to honor God with our body every single day. So, again, thank you for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. Just really looking forward to getting the day started. But let's start off with our first video. And this is Ashley B, as she's known on social media. You can usually find her on like TikTok and Instagram, most of her videos, and even on YouTube. But this was an interesting take on MLK Day.
MLK Day, everybody starts the same way with his most famous quote, I have a dream. And listen, that speech matters, that quote matters. I am not minimizing it. But that's not where my mind goes when I think of my favorite. The quote I keep coming back to is this one. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. Dr. King wrote that in 1947. He wasn't a symbol yet. He wasn't a holiday yet. He was just thinking, writing his ideas out in a paper called The Purpose of Education. And honestly, that line feels way more relevant right now in the times that we're going through. Because look around, we're surrounded by educated people who just can't think critically. People with degrees, people with credentials, and somehow no curiosity, no self-interrogation, no sense of responsibility for the harm that they enable. MLK was warning about that. He wasn't impressed by intelligence on its own, because intelligence without character doesn't liberate anyone. It just makes systems more efficient, right? More efficient at exploiting, more efficient at excluding, more efficient at justifying things that should bother us, you know? And now, when he says education, he's not talking about test scores. He's talking about whether education teaches you to ask who benefits, who pays the cost, who isn't in the room. And why does all of this feel normal? That's critical thinking. And that kind of thinking is inconvenient, which is probably why we don't highlight this quote as much. I think a lot of people prefer MLK when he's framed as a dreamer. Dreamers don't really require accountability. Dreams don't demand change tomorrow. But thinkers are dangerous, because once you actually think critically, you just can't unsee what's happening. You can't unknow who's being harmed. You can't pretend that neutrality is harmless. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he knew that. This quote tells you he wasn't trying to raise polite achievers. He was trying to raise people who couldn't be easily manipulated, people who could spot propaganda, people who understood that intelligence without ethics is empty. That's why he scared people long before the marches. That's why they surveilled him. That's why they tried to discredit him. Because he wasn't just asking for kindness. He was asking for honesty. So yeah, today I'm not starting with I have a dream. I'm starting with this. Are we being educated to think? Or just trained to function inside systems we were taught to never question? Because he told us a long time ago, if education doesn't build character alongside intelligence, it doesn't free anyone. It just creates smarter ways to do harm. So in honor of him, on today, tell me, what's your favorite Martin Luther King Jr. quote? And while you're telling me, make sure you remember to say his name, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah. I was like, that made a lot of sense. I was like, okay. I wasn't aware of that quote, but I was like, yeah, because education without intelligence just breeds people with degrees, and you can tell them, hey, lock people up. That's the best way to go about this. And nobody questioned it. Well, and I'm not saying no one. People did question it. They questioned it intensively, and their voices were suppressed. Why? Why couldn't we have an honest debate and conversation about it? Yeah, that. So thank you, Ashley, for bringing that up. And again, if you have any favorite Martin Luther King quotes, let me know. Put them in the comment section. Now, this video that I wanted to play next, this is Michelle Obama. I came across it. She's trending on X, apparently. I don't know for the right reasons, because some of the people that were responding, I guess, to what she's saying in this video, they were not being very kind. I'll just say that.
Of someone whose fashion that I like, and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. Right. I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes, what does our closet look like and who's in it? Who are we supporting in it?
Right.
You know, and I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, then you have the money to buy everybody.
Right.
And so let us be mindful, I think would be my advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently she's kind of getting drug about, wanting to wear more clothes by Black designers or people of color, as she stated. I'm really not worried. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh, I have to have Chanel or I have to have Juicy Couture. I don't wear clothes like that. I'm not a brand person. I'm more of a style person. If I like the style of the clothing, then I'm gonna buy it. And sometimes will buy things and I will cut it into the style that I want it to be in. I'm not a I'm not a Chanel person. Or what are some other name brands out there? I don't want to date myself and say like Jordache, whatever. Those were jeans, but I was never that person who felt like I have to wear this brand, because I don't really care what people think about me in that respect. As long as I look decent and I present well, I mean, that's what's important to me. I just want to look decent, when I show up to a meeting or if I'm being asked to be at a function or if I'm just, casually around the house. I want to look good. I like looking good. I don't want to be walking around my house looking crazy. But that's just me. But I don't have to have these name brand designers and like knowing who's in your closet. And that was kind of creepy. I was like, I don't want to know who's in my closet. Like, that's just weird to me. It is. It's very weird to me because I don't shop looking for specific designers to buy. I don't really care what I don't care what they look like. I don't care what their background is. Now, if there is an upcoming designer and, we're trying to support this person within the Black community, for example, I'm just using an example, then okay, I can see us purchasing maybe accessories or, the outfits or whatever to support that person, right? To kind of build up their brand. But again, I'm just not that person and I don't care. I don't, like Steve Madden shoes. Like there's some, I have some Steve Madden shoes, but I like the design of the shoe. It's not like, oh, I have to have Steve Madden. It's like, no, I like the design of the shoe. I'm more about the design than I am about the designer. I could kind of care less about the designer. I like the shoes. So if I were to find some similar shoes, and I have, by maybe another designer, I'm not buying them for the designer. I'm buying them for the design. And I guess we all shop differently, but she's kind of getting drugged on social media for her remarks on this, and I just find it hilarious in my opinion. But she, to her credit, while they were in the White House, she did make it a point to wear designers that she's stated are people of color designed her outfits for her. So I was like, hey, more power to you if you got it like that. If that's how you get down, right? But I just think it's wild how people are like really blowing it out of proportion. But I just wanted to play that to share that with you guys. Now, this one might get you guys a little bit upset. This is a video from someone who is undocumented. Yes, he's here illegally, graduated from UCLA. So how are you here illegally? Because they try to use undocumented, like, oh, it's undocumented. No, you're here illegally. If you're undocumented, you're here illegally. How did you get the money? They gave you money to go to college? Yeah, let's check this out.
Right, but I graduated from UCLA. It's right there. And it does matter. The sad reality is that it does matter. It does matter where you went to college. It does matter who your connections are. It does matter what your degree is. It does matter how you look. It does matter. All those things matter. You see, I had a job interview yesterday, and they were like, "Oh, he's also a UCLA alumni, like a person working there." It opens doors. And that's what people don't understand. It opened the door for me to meet the investors of Grubhub, Giphy, and Snapchat. It opened the door for me to start thinking bigger. It opened the door for me to so many other things. When people hear UCLA, they're like, oh, you must be smart. And I'm like, I'm just normal. But you have to understand that if you're trying to go to college, your college name does matter. Where you go does matter. So aspire to go to the best university possible. Let me know what you think down below.
Yeah. But he's still here undocumented. Yeah. That's crazy. He's not wrong though, because they do take care of their own. They just do. And I'm not mad at that. It's like, okay, it is what it is, right? I think we all know that. It's like, if you're well connected, you're well connected, right? This is why some people, their relatives, have halls named after them, right? And their legacy enrollment individuals, this is how they kind of stay at that upper echelon. It's not always about what you know, it is who you know. So, but I thought that was definitely interesting. Now, this next video is a SCOTUS ruling. This one's interesting. Now, this is about candidates and giving them more ability to actually investigate the elections that they've been a part of. Because before, candidates have gotten a lot of pushback. It's been difficult for them to get, maybe a recount if they feel there's fraud or anything. They just kind of get pushed out of the way and told to shut up. But no longer.
New and very consequential ruling. The U.S. Supreme Court just voted to allow a Republican member of Congress to challenge legally a state election law. Now, I'll of course get into the details of this particular case in a moment, but the reason that the Supreme Court decision matters so much is not necessarily because of the details of this particular case with this particular member of Congress. Instead, it's the precedent that it sets. With this ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court, they have decided that a candidate for office does in fact have the legal standing to sue over an election policy that he or she believes is illegal. And the consequences of this ruling, again, will truly be significant, especially if you think back and remember to what happened in the 2020 election, where many of those legal challenges, they were dismissed not because of the merits of the case, but rather due to a lack of standing of the people who brought the case forward. And so today, let's go through the details of this particular case, what the ruling is, as well as what this ruling means for the future of American elections. And of course, if you appreciate content like this, please do smash those like and subscribe buttons so this video can be picked up by the YouTube algorithm and shared with ever more people. Thank you very much. So to start with, let's rewind the clock back to May of 2022. That was when Republican member of Congress Michael Bost, alongside two other plaintiffs, they were women who were both 2020 and 2024 Republican presidential elector nominees, and they jointly filed the case in federal court against the Illinois State Board of Elections. Their claim was that the Illinois state law, which allowed mail-in ballots postmarked by or before Election Day to be received and counted up to 14 days after Election Day, was illegal. Their claim was that that particular state law, it violated several federal statutes which established a single election day for federal elections. And therefore, it basically diluted the votes. Meaning their claim was that it diluted the votes of those people who voted, quote unquote, legally by Election Day by having those votes compete with the, quote unquote, illegally cast votes, which were received after Election Day. Now, since getting filed in federal court in 2022, the case has been all throughout the system. Within about a year, you had U.S. District Judge John Ness dismiss the case altogether, saying that the plaintiffs in this case, they lack the necessary legal standing to be able to bring the suit forward. Specifically, that judge, he said that both the congressmen as well as the two presidential elector nominees, they lacked standing as per Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution because they could not show a concrete, particularized injury from that state law. Now, the congressman, he appealed that decision from the U.S. District Court, saying that, among other things, the fact that he had to pay campaign staff salaries for an additional 2 weeks in order to continue counting votes was a concrete injury because of that state law. If Illinois did not allow votes to be counted 14 days after Election Day, then the congressman would not need to have to pay staff for an additional 2 weeks after Election Day. Additionally, he also made the claim that his votes were diluted because of this whole setup. Quote, Congressman Bose said he has standing in the case because he incurs the expenses in running his campaigns for an extra 2 weeks to keep an eye on the receipt and counting of ballots. He also argued that, as a candidate, he has an interest in ensuring that validly received ballots are accurately counted. However, within just about a month, you had the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit rule against him again. In a split 2-1 decision, which came down in August of 2023, the appeals court ruled that the plaintiffs did lack standing. They basically said that the vote dilution claim was too speculative and that the additional costs that the campaign incurred were self-inflicted, and therefore the congressman could not sue the state in court. Here was the language that the Court of Appeals used. Quote, Congressman Bose had presented a generalized grievance affecting all Illinois voters that was not a sufficiently concrete and particularized injury to support standing. And so, with 2 losses under his belt, the congressman appealed the case once again, this time all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, asking the highest court in the land to review the standing issue. The issue of whether or not an election candidate has standing to sue the state election board in a case like this.
All right, just a pause here for a super quick snack break brought to you by today's. Say 25% off your first order.
The case. In October of 2025, they heard oral arguments from both sides, and then, just earlier this month, on January 14th of 2026, they issued a 7-2 decision in favor of the plaintiffs. Specifically, you had Justices John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Sam Alito, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, as well as Alina Kagan all rule in favor of Congressman Bose. Now, writing for the majority of the court, you had Chief Justice John Roberts say the following, quote, candidates have a concrete and particularized interest in the rules that govern the counting of votes in their elections, regardless whether those rules harm their electoral prospects or increase the cost of their campaigns. Their interest extends to the integrity of the election and the democratic process by which they earn or lose the support of the people they seek to represent. As a candidate for office, Congressman Bose has standing to challenge the rules that govern the counting of votes in his election. And so that was pretty unequivocal. However, I will mention that this was a 7-2 decision with Justices Ketanji Brown Jackson as well as Sonia Sotomayor dissenting from the majority. And in their dissenting opinion, they basically issued a warning that this type of a ruling could open the door to a lot more election-related lawsuits. Quote, by carving out a bespoke rule for candidate plaintiffs, granting them standing to challenge the rules that govern the counting of votes simply and solely because they are candidates for office, the court now complicates and destabilizes both our standing law and America's electoral processes. Also, by the way, just as an aside, even though Justice Amy Coney Barrett she concurred with the end result of the majority opinion, Amy Coney Barrett actually did write her own separate opinion, saying that the court, they should have ruled in a much more narrow way, much more narrowly in terms of the issue at hand. Quote, rather than take this straightforward path, the court charts a novel one. I cannot join the court's creation of a bespoke standing rule for candidates. Elections are important, but so are many things in life. We have always held candidates to the same standards as any other litigant. Regardless of this nuance, though, the end result is the same. The Congressman Bose, does have standing in his particular case. Now, very notably, the U.S. Supreme Court did not rule on the underlying question of whether allowing mail-in ballots to be counted after Election Day is constitutional or not. That issue will have to be decided in the future, which it actually now will. Since the congressman has standing, the case has been remanded down to the lower court, where it can, 4 years later, actually begin to proceed. Meaning, the congressman can now move forward with the challenge against the Illinois State Board of Elections. And as you would assume, the congressman's legal team was quite thrilled with this decision. He was actually being represented by Judicial Watch, which is a legal watchdog group. And when we here at the Epoch Times reached out to them for a comment, here's what they got back to us with. Quote, "This is the most important Supreme Court election law ruling in a generation. Too many courts have denied candidates the standing to challenge unlawful election rules, such as the outrageous ballots that arrive after Election Day. American citizens concerned about election integrity should celebrate the Supreme Court victory." Likewise, the congressman himself got back to us with a statement saying the following, quote, "This ruling was a critically important step forward in the fight for election integrity and fair elections. I look forward to continuing to pursue this case as we navigate the next stages of the legal process. It's vitally important that we restore the people's trust in our elections." We also did reach out to the lawyers for the Illinois State Board of Elections, but they have yet to get back to us. Regardless, in terms of the results of this case, for the congressman, it means that he can finally get his real lawsuit to continue. It means that he can go back down to the federal district court and challenge the Illinois state election law, which allows mail-in ballots to be counted 14 days after Election Day. For the rest of us, though, it means that we can all expect to see a lot more election-related lawsuits to be successfully filed in the near future. That's because if you just think about it, before this ruling, many of the challenges against things like mail-in ballots, things like grace periods for ballots that were received late, things like drop boxes and so on, many of those challenges, they were thrown out of the courts because the courts claimed that the people bringing forward those cases lacked the legal standing to do so. Up until now, the courts have basically said that the person suing could not prove that they were personally and concretely harmed by the law in question. However, moving forward after January 14th, any candidate running for federal office, like for Congress, the Senate, or even the presidency, they can a lot more easily file a lawsuit just by saying, hey, I'm running for this election, I'm running in this election, and I have a personal stake in how these votes will be counted. And so again, look forward to a lot more lawsuits being filed in the near future. And one obvious benefit of this is it will allow Americans to challenge the laws that appear to be unconstitutional both before as well as after an election. And therefore, people as a whole can have a lot more confidence and faith in the system overall. On the flip side, though, the downside, as mentioned by those two Supreme Court justices who dissented, is that there might be a lot more lawsuits. Since pretty much anyone in the country can run for federal office, it might really just open the floodgates in a negative way, clogging up the system and perhaps disrupting elections with continuous ongoing litigation. But let me ask you, is that a bad thing? Or if it is a bad thing, is that a price worth paying to allow citizens to challenge election rules that they believe are unconstitutional? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I'll be reading through them. Let's rewind.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, mainly because what it's going to create is it's going to create precedent, and you may only need 3 or 4 cases. And once other people try to bring them, they'll, you know what I'm saying? It'll be a matter of the rulings will start to change the behavior of these said election boards, because we should not have election week. We should have election day, and that's it. And all the ballots are counted that day. And it's interesting because I actually met a poll worker from Fulton County, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we count the mail-in ballots last." And I'm like, that's always weird to me. It's like the mail-in ballots should be counted first, because you should be getting the mail-in ballots prior to the election. The mail-in ballots should never be counted last. That's weird. But as a lot of people said, you get all the other ballots counted, and then it's like you have this number that goes straight up and over, and it's like, oh, is it because you know how many you need to win? Is that why you count the mail-in ballots last? No, mail-in ballots, in my opinion, should be fully counted at least no more than a week before the physical election. We should know how many mail-in ballots that we have, and there has to be a cutoff date for mail-in ballots if we're going to go with mail-in ballots. That way, anything that comes in afterwards, it's not counted. Now, will that still keep people from cheating? No, because we have people that work in our election board offices that cheat, and they're disgusting, and they need to be rooted out. And that's the next thing that needs to happen. And I hope a couple of these lawsuits start to target that part, the individuals committing fraud within our election boards. And that just lets us know we got to get up off the couch and participate and be the people that work at the election board, right? And be the people that do count the ballots and making sure that the ballots are legitimate and not fraudulent, that people who are not citizens here are allowed to vote. They should never be allowed to vote. They should not be determining congressional districts because of the numbers. And here's my thing, if you've got so many said, undocumented people in your area, they all need to be deported. They do. I mean, the crackdowns need to start happening. I'm glad that some things are happening, and we're going to go and get into that more in the show. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with this Supreme Court ruling because it is going to help candidates, in my opinion. And also, it's going to build more trust with the public that their votes actually do matter and their votes actually do count. Now, with that, this next video I came across, it's interesting because you guys know I've had my couple of rants about individuals that practice Islam, right? That are Muslim, because Muslim is not an ethnicity; it is a religious marker. It means people that practice Islam. That's a Muslim, okay? And my concern has always been and still is individuals, and it's not everybody that practices Islam, but there are those that do, that also adhere to Sharia law, which runs contrary to constitutional law. And people, in my opinion, that support Sharia law, it's not religious law, no, it's your law, you need to be deported off the soil, period. You're running contrary to our constitution. We have a constitution in this country. We do not have Sharia law. We do not have Sharia law courts, but there are people on our soil that do have Sharia law courts in Texas right now as we speak. And that needs to be shut down, and they need to be deported, denaturalized today. Okay. If you want to worship that way, if that's what you want to do, and intertwine your legal status and intertwine the laws that you're going to follow, and you want to have a theocracy, because that's what that is. If you want to have a theocracy, then you can't be here. Not a United States soil. We're a republic. Period. But there are a lot of countries that do practice that way, and you are so welcome to go there. But that's what needs to happen. So let's check this out.
Disbelievers, and this is a religion, like I said,
commanded to terrorize the
in the Quran says very clearly in the Arabic language, turhibuna. This means terrorize them.
This next video is coming to us from the United States of America, where these two Muslim ladies right here decided that it's perfectly fine to ruin Halloween for the other Americans. So what are they doing? They're stealing all the candy. Okay, let's watch. This video is coming to us from a Muslim country where this content creator right here decided that she wanted to stream without her hijab, but then her parents saw it and beat her up on live stream. Let's watch. Hi guys, this is Sahar TV and welcome to part 7 of The West Has Fallen. It's supposed to be part 10, but I forgot to record part 7. For the people who don't know what this is, we are watching videos from around the world, from around the West, proving that the West has collapsed. All the videos are 100% authentic and real. Let's watch. This first video is coming to us from the UK, where this Muslim lady right here decided that it's perfectly fine to spray paint models' posters on the street to cover their bodies. Weird.
Yeah. Again,
Beautiful.
you don't align.
Beautiful. She was invited into this country from her Muslim Islamist country. And she thought that it's perfectly fine to cover their bodies in a westernized countries where it's perfectly allowed to show these things. See the problem? See the problem? The cultures don't align. That's why Islam doesn't belong in the West. This next video is coming to us from the UK, where this specific imam is saying, we will conquer the rest of the world. The UK will become Muslim. The United States will become Muslim. They're saying it to your faces. Let's watch.
Future is ours. America will be a Muslim country. Russia will be a Muslim country. Islam will enter every house. We have to be a part of that change and never, ever apologize. We're unapologetic.
Of course.
Never, ever compromise. We're uncompromising.
Beautiful. He's saying it to your faces that the world is planned to be Muslim by the Islamists. They're saying it. This next video is coming to us from the United States of America. And this specific person, what he's saying that the United States is the cancer, despite the rights that he has, despite the freedom that he has, just to prove to you that it has nothing to do with rights. You don't have to invite people who have a different culture than you into your country and think they're going to respect your culture all of a sudden. They moved there for a reason. They moved there to spread Islam, to spread their ideology that doesn't intertwine with yours. Let's watch.
America is the cancer. America, the American government, secularism, democracy, capitalism. These are cancers that have spread their illness all over the world. In America and in the Middle East. In America over here, people have the freedom to, again, like I said before, commit zina, do all this fahisha, but when you speak up, it's a problem.
This video is coming to us from a Muslim country where this content creator right here decided that she wanted to stream without her hijab, but then her parents saw it and beat her up on live stream. Let's watch. Islam, the religion of tolerance. Welcome. This next video is coming to us from the United States of America, where these two Muslim ladies right here decided that it's perfectly fine to ruin Halloween for the other Americans. So what are they doing? They're stealing all the candy. Okay, let's watch. I'll take a little bit of this, yeah. No, Fatima, just put the whole thing in the bag. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, let's go. That's it. Halloween has ruined. Another proof that Islam doesn't belong in the West. This next video is coming to us from Portugal. Try to count how many white people you can count in this European country, because this country was conquered. Let's watch. Wow. This next video is coming to us from Westminster Abbey in the United Kingdom, where the British flag was replaced by the Pakistani flag after 1,000 years that the UK flag has been waved at the top of it. This is what conquest looks like. Let's watch. This next video is coming to us from the United States of America, where this Muslim person or imam is saying that they are commanded to terrorize the disbelievers. Disbelievers are non-Muslims, the Christians, the Jews, the Buddhists, the Hindus. These are the people he's talking about. Let's see.
Commanded to terrorize the disbelievers. And this is a religion, like I said.
Commanded to terrorize the disbelievers?
The Quran says very clearly in the Arabic language, Turhibuna. This means terrorize them. It's a command from Allah.
Baby, we're going to need more bacon. They're at it again.
That's the funny thing. He's saying it to our faces, yet the West doesn't listen. Why? You're going to wait until it's too late? This next video is coming to us from the UK, where this Pakistani immigrant is saying, if you don't abide by the laws of the country and by the laws of the land, you should be deported. He's actually against the Pakistani immigrants. Let's watch.
If I am in this country and I cannot abide by the law of this country, I think I should be deported as well. Why do you come to a country, you know the rules, you know the regulations, especially when you come illegally, you know everything is on the book. If you cannot follow that, if you're not okay with UK being a Christian country, maybe go to a Muslim country then. Yeah. There are many, there are plenty. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm doing it. I don't see anything minority, unfortunately. So, but yeah, it is what it is.
So on one hand, as an immigrant, you've given a voice to other immigrants who perhaps feel the same way as you, but they're scared to speak out.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I'm sure you have some people who really hate you, who really, how do you deal with that?
Well, I've got a lot of death threats. Unfortunately, the police won't help me. The police aren't here to help me. They've got I do get a lot of death threats, and it is only from my own community. So that is a different thing. But yeah, there isn't any.
He's getting death threats from his own community for criticizing the fact that they don't abide by the laws. You know, why would somebody get so defensive if it wasn't true?
How do you say? I know you're saying there are silence, minority or majority, you can call it, from my own community. But the problem is, I don't want them to be silent anymore because it's not helping anybody. I can sit at home and I can just avoid all of this and I can enjoy my life. I can have a very good life. But because I'm doing what I'm doing, I've lost my job from the council because they said to me, unless you stop saying that the white people are racist, you can't have this job. And unfortunately for me, I've got too much gratitude to the country and towards the white people. So I think because of that, I wouldn't stop. But yeah, no, you talk about silence, majority or minority. I don't think there's any, because I do get occasionally messages from the people from my own community saying, "Oh, we're very proud of what you're doing. We wouldn't do it, but you're doing it." To those people, I've always said, "Why don't you come and do it with me? Why don't you come up? Because this is the time. If you're not going to do it now, there is too much divide already." And that is because a lot of communities, rather than saying that, okay, if somebody looks at a Pakistani, what it is that we are representing. But if you're a Pakistani, you come to a country, what it is people say about you when they look at you. Unfortunately, what the Pakistani community has done, there is nothing positive, unfortunately.
Beautiful. That's exactly what it should be with other immigrants coming from different countries, respecting the laws, respecting the Constitution, abiding by the laws, and that's it. Then you're going to be welcome. Then you're not going to have protests against you. It's that clear. It's that simple.
It's very unfortunate because I am a Pakistani, but unless more people come out and do what I am doing, it's not going to help nobody.
All right, man. Thank you.
This next video is coming to us from the UK, where this Muslim guy is justifying the fact that it's fine to groom little girls. Let's watch.
Right.
I've got no right to pay.
So why have you done it?
I don't know.
And why are you here to meet this child?
I don't know.
Why have you told this child to stay over here until after New Year so you can see her more and more?
Nothing is coming in my brain, so I don't know.
Well, something's got to have got in your brain, because you've said to the child that she's sexy, beautiful and gorgeous. You're constantly calling her love. You're also calling her my sweetheart, my love and baby. You tell the child that you love her and you've been thinking about her on numerous occasions. Why would you think about a 13-year-old child on numerous occasions?
No, it's nothing coming in my mind. Listen.
I'm listening.
I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry doesn't cut it. You can't go and groom our children and think that you're going to get what to do with it.
I won't do anything and to anyone, because I'm sorry, in my life, I never, entire of my life, and done nothing.
Well, that don't...
I've got no record in my life to,
Well, you're going to have a record today because you're going to be arrested. Listen to me.
Okay, I said no.
Right,
I
listen.
said no. I said yes.
Well, don't start raising your voice to me. You're the one that's turned up. You're the one that's turned up to meet a 13-year-old child.
I'm sorry, I said. Sorry.
You're asking the child why. Listen.
Sorry.
Why would you ask the child what a bra size is, what colour a bra size is, and what a waist is? What rights do you think you've got to do that?
Because it's perfectly normal in the country that he came from. Right. That's why. And that's what we mean that the culture doesn't align with Western culture. Understand it.
Do you realise the impact that this has on children when you're grooming them in the manner that you are?
In my life.
Well, you have, because it's all here. I've got the evidence
in
here.
My life. I'm a clean person.
I've got it all here. Look, can you read? Can you read? Look, does this ring any bells to you? Everything that you've told the child, look. You've told her not to tell her mum or anyone at school that they are chatting, so you knew you were doing wrong.
Do me a favour, stop waving your arms about.
Are you sexually attracted to children?
No.
No?
No, never.
So why this child?
I don't know why I don't believe this guy.
Never. Never in my life.
So why this child?
Never. I don't know nothing.
Well, you must know something because you've done it.
There's nothing coming in my mind.
There's nothing coming in your mind. Not at the moment. I'll tell you why, because you've been caught. That's why. Because we are here to stop you and stop this from happening. Yeah, you've literally just told the child not so many minutes ago that you was outside in a white car. I'm not going to mention the make and model, but you told her you was outside in a white car. And where have I gone and detained you from? Outside in a white...
He's making a smoke party right now, right? It's because he's really stressed, because he's been caught. And beautiful that this video was published so we can expose it.
A car with a bunch of flowers on your windscreen for the child. How many children are you speaking to?
No.
Well, you are, because you're speaking to this one that I know of. How many more?
No. Believe me, I'm not lying.
Just this one? Well, I find that hard to believe because, like I said to you, you've come for this one.
Okay, you check my record. If you find anything,
It's not your record that's going to be checked. It's your phone.
I've done this before. Then you tell me. Because I am done in my life.
I don't care if you've done it before. The fact is, you've done it today, and you're here to meet a child.
I am done this.
How long you been in England?
I'm born here.
You're born here, right? So, do you understand the English law?
A little bit.
For you to sexually communicate with
He's born in there, but he doesn't speak English well? I find that hard to believe.
a child under the age of 16 is illegal. Yeah? For you to plan and arrange meet for a child under the age of 16 is illegal. What are you doing? Take your hand out of your pocket. Yeah, well, I don't know what you've got in your pocket, so just keep your hands up, please.
Hey, listen, stop smiling, mate, because this ain't funny.
It's not laughing
It
matter,
ain't a
is it?
joke.
You're in some very serious trouble.
It's not laughing. I'm not laughing. I'm saying I'm not laughing.
Well, you had a good smirk on your face. At the end of the day, what you need to drill into your head...
I don't smoke. I only use this.
The child asks how old he is, and he replies, does age matter?
Yeah.
Does age matter? What do you mean, does age matter? Of course age matters. She's 13 years of age.
For Islamists, 13 years of age is not a problem because Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6, consummated the marriage when she was 9, and for most Muslims, I mean all Muslims, that's being an adult. So 13, she's got to have a career by that age, right? 13, I was playing with my soccer ball outside. I was playing basketball with my friends. That's what I was doing at 13. Girls at that age, they play with dolls, right? They do sleepover parties and eat cotton candy and marshmallows and s'mores. But for them, no, they've got a career because they're mature, 13, so old.
Your eyes are very sexy. Your lips are like watermelon. I can't take my eyes off you. She is 13. Why would you want your eyes on a child?
That's disgusting.
When I go to bed, I see you beside me, all around me. What about you? Are you a god?
Sorry?
Are you a god? No. So
I'm a human like you.
You're a human. Well, you're not like me because I don't go and meet children.
I don't do that as well.
Well, you have because you're here.
I never done it in my life.
You might not have done it before, but you've done it today.
I've never done it in my life. I'm going to clap.
Yeah, right. Do you want to sit down?
Sit down. Sit down.
Right.
No, you're
Sit
all right,
down.
you're all right. Sit down. We're going to get you water. We're going to get you water. Hey, excuse me. Give my colleagues a thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all time.
All the videos you've watched are 100% real, and they are a reminder for you that the West is slowly collapsing. Now, it's not the fault of the people. I can see that the people are trying to fight it. I can see that they're going and confronting those specific people face to face. They're filming, they're sharing. It's the governments who are allowing this to happen. But how do we change this? We have to post videos, we have to increase awareness, we have to pitch about this, to talk about this, because otherwise it's going to be too late. We're going to be left behind. The world is going to become truly Muslim. We are going to become second-class citizens, or as they call us, the Al-Dhimma, second-class citizens. And then it's going to be exactly like 1400 years ago, where we will have to cross the street when we see a Muslim coming in front of us because we don't want to contaminate the Muslim, where we have to ride only donkeys and not horses. Back in the day, it was more valuable because they had no cars, but only Muslims were allowed to ride horses. And the kuffars, the disbelievers, only donkeys to show the disrespect. You could have never built a church or a synagogue higher than a mosque as a sign of disrespect to the disbelievers and kuffars. That's what I mean by the fact that it doesn't align with the West. The fact that she was beat up, the girl, on camera by her parents for not wearing a hijab, that's a problem. A serious one. Just to show you that you don't have a freedom of expression. You don't have a freedom of speech 100%. Try to criticize Muhammad in front of Muslims. I want to see what happens to you. Oh my God. Try to criticize Muhammad in a Muslim Sharia law country, in Afghanistan or Iran. Oh my God. You're going to be screwed. Thank you so much for watching part 7. Remember, it's supposed to be part 10, but I skipped part 7. Thank you for watching part 7 of The West Has Fallen. New merch is coming soon, so it's going to be available on my...
Yeah, so that was really interesting. I want to say, let me I'm sorry, Sahar TV, Sahar TV. So if you want to check him out, he's on YouTube. That's where I got that video. But when I saw it, I was just like, wow. A lot of the things that I had been saying, and I was like, they don't align with us, and they don't. And the reason why, and this is my opinion, because their practice of their religion is more of a theocracy, because they also have their own set of laws that goes along with their religion. Now, it is not all people, again, that practice Islam that practice it in that way, but the sect that does, they do not align with the United States. And those are the people who need to be up off the soil. It's like, if that's what you want to do, I don't have a problem with you wanting to do that. You just can't do it here. Okay? Because we don't have a theocracy here. We have a republic, period. And for people that have that theocracy mentality, that's what they're going to put forth. When I hear that imam, and I've played him on the show before, where he says, Muslims going to be in every home, it's going to be everywhere. And it's just like, okay, I know as Christians, we want to evangelize the world, but we are not trying to demand that people worship God. That's your choice. If you choose not to, if you hear the good news and you choose, nah, it's not for me, then at least you've heard it. Okay. At least somebody shared their faith with you. At least you've been evangelized. Outside of that, no one's going to force you to go to church. And if they are forcing you to go to church, maybe we should have a conversation. I don't know. But from, what I've practiced as a Christian, I don't force people to go. I don't even force my kids to go. I would like for my kids to go. And, when they lived up under my roof, they did go with me. But once they got to a certain age, right, and they moved out of my home, there was no longer a, hey, you need to go to church. Now it is up to them, but at least they've heard God's word. They've heard the good news. They've heard that message. So again, I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's interesting. And Buffalo Guy one says Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are all theocratic in practice. They can be. I'm not saying that Christianity can't be. It can be. Trust me. I've come across a few people in my life that were like, everything's got to be. I was like, stop that. We have freedom of religion. Okay. And I want people to have the freedom to choose. Right. And where people say Christianity is theocratic, our Constitution, right, holds the principles of the Bible, but it doesn't say that you are forced to practice Christianity. And that is the difference. It's a very fine line. Guarantee it's a very fine line. And people do in certain instances, and I've seen it, they do take liberties with trying to force their religion on other people and do it in a way that's like, well, it's, it could be legal. It's like, no, stop that. If someone is an atheist and they don't believe, you got to respect where they're at, because that's the country that we live in. We cannot, again, force people to practice the way we want them to. Again, is it great if people do practice Christianity? I think so, because I'm a Christian, but I don't want people to be forced to practice Christianity. I don't want anybody to be forced, and I don't want to see religions where they're doing lawless things either, right? And this even comes to what is it? The people that live in, is it Utah? I think the Church of Latter-day Saints, they marry 9-year-olds. It's gross. It's disgusting. And I think in Missouri, the legal age to get married is like 12 or 13 or something ridiculous. Like, And these religions, they take advantage of that. Multiple wives and marrying little kids. Y'all are gross. And that's not the Muslim religion. That's Church of Latter-day Saints. What y'all doing? What you doing, Mormons? What you doing? That's gross. That's pedophilia. You need to stop. But y'all try to hide it under religion to get away with it. It's gross. It has nothing to do with God. God has not said that in his word. It's heresy. And those are things that need to be called out. But see, not every Christian's going to do that. Be like, well, we're all, no. You are not a disciple. If you are not following God's word, you better wake up. Better get it together. With that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to check out a few more things going on in the state of Minnesota. So thank you guys for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And I will see you on the other side.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. The energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science. At longevity. At exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Take your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. And we will be 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. this Thursday and Friday. And then when we hit Monday, we'll be back to 7 to 9 a.m. So thank you so much for joining me. And this is something that I came across. They have issued subpoenas. If you guys haven't heard about this yet, this is what's going on.
Federal officers and local leaders over the immigration crackdown in Minnesota are escalating to a new level.
The Department of Justice is investigating several local elected officials to see if they have impeded federal immigration operations with their public statements. Maury Glover joining us now from the newsroom with more on what these subpoenas could mean.
Well, the elected officials are calling the investigation a bullying tactic meant to quiet political opposition. And at least one local political science professor believes any possible charges would be hard to prove in court.
For several weeks, Operation Metro Surge has brought thousands of federal agents to Minnesota to target immigrants living in the country illegally. Now the war of words over those immigration enforcement efforts is entering a new arena. The Justice Department has subpoenaed the offices of Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul, Jacob Frey and Kali Herr, as well as officials in Hennepin and Ramsey counties, as part of an investigation into whether they obstructed or impeded federal immigration operations. The subpoenas ask for any records relating to cooperation or lack of cooperation with federal law enforcement and a refusal to come to the aid of immigration officials.
I have never heard of the federal government starting an investigation for elected officials over the issue of impeding its operations.
University of Minnesota political science professor Larry Jacobs believes the investigation is an attempt by the Trump administration to get local officials to back off their support for protesters.
Okay, look. There are federal statutes that say, I'll quote one, Title 18, Section 111 clearly states you cannot impede federal agents from doing their job. You can't do it. For a professor to be like, well, I just think they're doing, really? Bro, all you have to do is search it online. Yeah. The federal government has every right to do what they're doing right now because there are people here illegally. ICE is there to detain them and return them to their home country. The failure of these local politicians and even state politicians is to make sure that they're isolated from the general population. They have failed their general population and put their population at risk by allowing these people to be in their community. See, we haven't heard about all of the rapes that have possibly and allegedly happened. See, that's been kept quiet. Because see, the one Somali man a couple of years ago who went into a backyard and raped a 12-year-old girl, just snatched her up. Yes, he was Somali. He didn't even have to serve his full sentence because they were like, well, he doesn't know our customs and our rules, so we were not going to keep him. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what happened. And he was released early. So between these judges and these politicians that are crazy and letting these things occur, yeah, I'm glad that they are finally using the law. This should have happened last year. This should have been done. We should have had this done in July, but at least it's happening now. At least it's happening now.
Who are exercising their First Amendment rights. Jacobs says if charges were brought, they'd be hard to prove in court because the elected officials had specifically told Minnesotans to protest peacefully and not obstruct ICE enforcement efforts.
This can't simply be giving a press conference. There needs to be an orchestrated effort to stop ICE, and there needs to be some kind of written record of that. I think it's going to be very difficult to find that.
But Jacobs says the subpoenas will also bring a new level of scrutiny to Governor Walz and the others at a time when their energies are needed elsewhere.
There may be no modern precedent for what's going on. It's absolutely extraordinary. The eyes of the country are on Minnesota.
Now, the subpoenas call for representatives from those offices to testify before a grand jury at the federal courthouse in Minneapolis on February 3rd. In the newsroom, Maureen Glover, Fox 9.
All right.
What's interesting is, there have been different epithets towards the ICE agents from these state and local politicians. They can't take those back. Those are public record. And they were not done in the course of just being within their job, right? Because there's the speech and debate clause. But they weren't doing this at work. They were making statements in some instances. So you holding a press conference, I don't think that's covered under the speech and debate clause. We'll have to see. But what Governor Walz can't take back is calling them the Descapo, calling them Nazis, saying, Mayor Fry, we're not gonna work with ICE. You said these things on camera. You've defended illegal people being here on the soil. I think they're going to have a home run when it comes to this. That's just my opinion. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen any of these videos. I'm not going to play the whole thing from Alex Jones, but apparently they have no-go zones in Minneapolis, and it's getting pretty dangerous for people to just be out and about in Minneapolis.
This guy's got an American flag on him, so they're attacking him and then make him take it off.
You're not going to take it off, and you won't get hurt.
Okay, here's the guy with the American flag on. Doesn't look Caucasian to me. He looks Indian. you know, or he might be Pakistani, probably, allegedly. And they are pulling at him and demanding he take off his clothes. This is the mob rule in Minnesota, in Minneapolis particular. It's crazy.
First, they call you a Nazi to dehumanize you, and now an American flag's evil, too.
Take it off. We gave you a chance.
Take it off. We gave you a chance.
Get your ass up out of here. Drop.
He can't even walk the street. He's supposed to be free
How
here in
dare
America.
you wear an American flag in America?
Wow.
I mean, what is he, Hispanic? Maybe Asian? I don't know. It's just like, what's the left say? The American flags is the enemy. And here they are attacking one of their own. And then even after he submits, all the cowards, the white men, it's literally a lynch mob with some white women, still keep going after him. He's wearing an American flag. He's the enemy. That tells you everything you need to know. Giant mob of white people attacking a brown person for wearing an American flag. And I'm sorry to attack white people, folks. I just call it like it is. Okay, so balls and strikes here. Here they are attacking one of their own idiots. Beating him in the head.
Okay. Okay, boy, look. Get up. Let him go. Get your ass up. You good?
They call him a Nazi. When the feds show up to save him, they then claim the feds attacked him. Watch this.
Okay, good. You all right, dude? You all right?
He's one of us.
How do we know?
A fellow moron.
How do we know? Okay. Look, and I told you guys last week to try to check out the movie Civil War. I'm telling you, it's playing out in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's playing out there. Attacking people on the street because they choose to wear red, white, and blue. They choose to wear the flag. I don't care. We have freedom of speech, right? Y'all are supposed to be peacefully protesting, but you're attacking people? That's not peacefully protesting. That's attacking people. But the police aren't going to do anything. They're standing down. These people are left to their own devices. It has devolved into chaos. Sad. It's just horrible.
I said the empire, the globalist empire is on the run. It's in full collapse now and being routed. We got to recut those liners, don't we? Wow. Amazing. You know, people can armchair quarterback and Monday morning quarterback and backseat drive all day and say Trump isn't doing this fast enough or that fast enough. And I agree in many cases because this is one hell of a fight. And if Trump's a horse, I'm digging my spurs in. But I still love the horse. I feel sorry sometimes how hard I'm beating it with a damn whip. And I'm beating myself with one, too, in the crew, because this is serious history happening. But look how far we've moved the needle towards liberty from tyranny. We've moved it a long way. Look at that. Pentagon preps infantry battalions for Minnesota. 1,500 Arctic troop regular army from Alaska. I told you Trump's getting ready to declare the Insurrection Act this week. Give the mayor and the governor there. Don't stop lying and saying ISIS is committing crimes and ICE are Nazis and people need to rise up against them. And the police will not help. Not just there, but in Chicago, you name it. I mean, it is so criminal. Drug overdoses have already dropped by 40% since Trump got in. Crime is plunging. The left is so pissed that this is happening. I'm going to get to all that coming up. Let me play just some clips right now. And I want to explain something to you. Overhead shot, please. Look how many clips I have, okay? This is just today. 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page. 5-page, 6-page, 7-page, 8-page, 9-page, 10-page, 11, 12, 14 pages. All of them are completely bonker town insane, okay? And I need to just start getting to them, but just you have to understand, I control myself and don't send them everything I look at, all right? I've seen at least 40 clips of them blocking highways and dragging people out of their cars. We'll show some of them. I mean, this is communist uprising, French Revolution, lawless cuckoo town. And it's not just in Minnesota. Psychos are running around, and any white man that doesn't look like a wimp, they're saying is ICE. And they're just going into restaurants, again, with telephone workers, IT workers. You got a bunch of guys bust their ass all day. They attack them, even when they're Hispanic and black. And that's crazy. And it's only a matter of time. I mean, I saw all this footage in Ohio and Minnesota and other areas where they'll walk by a restaurant, there'll be a bunch of IT workers having lunch, and they go in there and start beating the living hell out of them. And man, let me tell you, I guess they must be nicer up in Minnesota. Because I'll guarantee you went in some restaurant at lunch in even Austin, Texas, and you started attacking people, you're going to get your ass blown away. I mean, or at least get your ass beat. So the left, though, that's what they want, is they're trying to trigger this with the police and with the ICE, and they kill the National Guard. This is terrorism, folks. This is bullying. And Trump 100% needs to declare the Insurrection Act that is in the Constitution. He's not overriding the Constitution. He is enforcing the damn thing. And he doesn't want to do this. And once the troops go out, that's when they're going to pull the false flag and mow down a bunch of people. But we're already ahead of that. You have to do your duty, though the heavens fall. But that's where we are. And I expect Trump, because these mayors and governors are all pushing things harder, it needs to be declared in the next few days. And if Todd Blanche and Bondi won't immediately prosecute these mayors and people that are openly saying ICE is criminal, oppose ICE, that is insurrection. That is a lie. They are not committing crimes. They are not violating the Constitution. They're not illegal. They're not fake police. They're enforcing court orders. And in many cases, they have warrants, too, when they're doing searches. But it's all 100% been approved by the courts. They already tried to block it, as you know. It all got overrode. If the federal government can do anything, it's arrest illegal aliens with criminal records. And they all have criminal records. They're all here illegally. And it is just a giant smokescreen. It is gaslighting. It is a lie. So each one of these videos I could talk about for an hour alone. But here it is. This is in Minnesota today. An ICE officer pulls up when they're trying to go into this house that's got this convicted pedophile in it they're trying to bust. And he says, "Why are you doing this?" We're busting a pedophile. Just to give you an idea what they're doing. Then we've got, again, a Hispanic man who's just wearing an American flag shirt. The American flags are popular. He's just wearing an American flag shirt. They start beating him up, make him take his shirt off. Then we got a man who they just look at and thinks ICE, so they beat him up and stab him in the head with a flagpole with a spear on the end of it. We got a whole bunch of videos of them just beating up people, attacking their cars. And then we got Don Lemon, just in this group of clips. And it's been confirmed. Nick Swerer went to the church. Our reporter did a show this afternoon, about 3 hours ago here, every Sunday at 1 p.m. Don Lemon didn't go to the church. Don Lemon just put out, this church has got ICE in it. And everybody descended on it. And, of course, they went in and started ransacking it. And, of course, there was no ICE there, and the church has nothing to do with it. I mean, the level of just the wild feeding frenzy of hatred. And I use that analogy. You pull up footage of thrasher sharks and others, they'll get in a big group around a whole bunch of mackerel or whatever the fish is that are in schools, and the sharks will get and swim around them, and they'll start going through and biting them and eating them. But once the blood gets in the water of the fish they're eating, the sharks will go crazy and just start biting each other. Yeah, in fact, do ICE sex offender, then do the American flag, then play the clip. I've got many of the where they chase down the guy and then go, oh God, he's one of us. Bash his head into the ground, everything. So go to the ICE, try to stop the sex offender, the pedophile, then go to the American flag guy being attacked, then go to them attacking their own, then go to the flagpole attack, then go to them attacking cars, and then go to Don Lemon. Here it is.
We're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, they're not. No, we're pressing. No, we're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane. That's what we're doing. My word's not for you. My word is not for you. I don't have to do it. It's a real warrant, though.
The liberal woman says don't talk to her. But look at this. This guy's got an American flag on him, so they're attacking him.
Mental health. The bleeding is natural from Nazis' ears.
Yeah, here's the guy bleeding from the neck, stabbed in the neck. They're just randomly attacking people, trying to pull his pants off. I mean, it turned out the guy wasn't even involved in anything. They just want to kill him. They just randomly pick people.
Off with their head, right?
Off with their head.
And the crazy thing is, this isn't a movie. This is America. When is this ever right? And where are the police? Oh, yeah, that's right. They're standing down. This is why Trump is going to put forth the Insurrection Act, not just because of the ICE agents, this stuff. You can't even be an American citizen and walk down the street without being accosted. See, I need all of the technology to kick in right now. Every cell phone needs to be pinged that was here around that man's cell phone, and they can do it. They have the technology to do it. And they all need to be arrested. Prison needs to happen.
And you know, he defended himself. A Soros DA put him in jail. Or the Attorney General of Minnesota would. It's another angle of them stabbing in the neck. They just randomly pick people and do this.
You don't come from Minneapolis anymore. Yeah, not the Trump.
As long as they say Nazi scum, they get to attack you.
Yeah, all these people need to be arrested.
All right, let's move on from this. Let's go to them attacking people's cars. And then let's go to Don Lemon sicking him on an innocent church.
Open the door. Oh my God. Run. Oh my God. Just run. Stop. Wait, let them go. Let them go. Hey, pull over. Hey, leave it. Get out of here. Leave it up. Get out of here. No. Y'all just let him leave.
Literal mobs like Road Warrior dragging people out of cars.
Is insane.
And the police do nothing.
This is insane. That's insane.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street and you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the civil rights movement was about, the civil rights movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution.
Okay. The civil rights movement was not about this. It was not about this. This is disgusting. You're actually impeding a church service, and you think you can? Oh, I'm going to let him finish. I'm going to let him finish cooking because he's going to prison.
Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt, to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortable people uncomfortably...
And here they are surrounding Nick Sordor, knocking the windows out in a moment, attacking him. Police did nothing. I can show you literally just in the last few days hundreds of these videos. I have like 50 today. And that's who these people are. And that's what has been created by the left in this country. And you've got the Mayor Fry still saying it's illegal, still saying they're going to pay, still saying ICE is going to get killed if they don't leave. I got a bunch of clips of him. Let's go to a short clip of the mayor, clip 11.
Seeing it in real time, you are aware that 18 U.S. Code 111 makes it a federal crime to impede, interfere, or even assault officers. And we see the protesters crossing a line of protesting, throwing rocks, hitting cars, and interfering in the federal government's view of their operation of carrying out federal immigration law enforcement.
We have had perhaps tens of thousands of people peacefully protesting in the streets. And at the same time, yeah, they are going to stand up for their neighbors. And
insane.
Let's go to the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Club 63. Stephen Miller publicly accuses Tim Walz and Mayor Fry of insurrection, which is what this is. Club 63, why Trump needs to take action. Here it is.
Yes, well, sanctuary cities are jurisdictions that shield and shelter criminal illegal aliens from deportation. So, for example, in Minneapolis and Minnesota, when an illegal alien commits a crime and is deportable and can and should be removed from the country, the city of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota prevent ICE from arresting and deporting the offender, even when they are charged or convicted of heinous crimes, including crimes against women, crimes against children, crimes of violence, and instead they release them back onto the street where they can continue to reoffend. So ICE over and over and over again goes out into the community to find and arrest these fugitives who have since committed additional egregious crimes after they were released by Fry and Walz and Ellison. These are acts of insurrection against the laws of the United States and against the sovereignty of the United States. Foreign illegal aliens who broke into this country, who then raped children, who committed human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, protected, shielded, sheltered, coddled, defended at every level by the leadership in Minnesota. And then when ICE goes out to make these arrests, they unleash violent mobs to attack, assault, and impede ICE officers. And they refuse to allow the city police to protect those ICE officers in the conduct of their duties, willfully aiding and abetting this violence.
Y'all, I can't make this crap up. Minnesota police chief just stated that 24 of his officers have just quit. 19 of them went to ICE to help their country, to help their state. You cannot make this crap up. People, insurrection, I hope it comes so soon, it can't be soon enough.
Say
Hey, why don't you uncover your face, your ugly fucking face, bitch? You can't say it?
Get out of my face.
No, fuck you. What you gonna do about it, bitch? I don't fuck with Ice. They call me Ice K. What up, bitch? They call me Ice K, you fuck boy. Say that shit, you ugly bitch. Hey, what's your name, bitch?
Familiar tells me that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey are both being investigated by the Justice Department. And a grand jury has issued subpoenas for both of them, though it doesn't appear that either have been served yet. What we do know tonight.
Well, they have been served. So I will post the link to this video so you guys can watch the rest of that. But it's just sad to see what's happening, especially in Minnesota, and how the country's devolving. When you question the leadership, they blame it on ICE. No, this is your fault. You released people back out to the community, and it's made a danger for the community. Those people have deportation orders. They need to be deported. And by you releasing them back out to the community and then trying to hide them and encouraging people to put themselves in harm's way against federal agents, I mean, the whole thing is insane. But is it? I don't think they're crazy. I don't think they're crazy. This is the playbook. And it always has been. They are trying to destabilize the United States, and they will do it state by state, city by city. And this is where we, as American citizens, have to step up and say, no more. These little, runabouts, and that's what I'm going to call them, these little runabouts out in the street committing crimes. I mean, that was terrifying. Those young people in that little car and dragging people out of the car. What is wrong with you? And y'all are we're the peaceful ones. No, you're not. You have devolved into mob rule. And it's sad. Truly, truly sad. Now we're going to move on from there. And I want to transition to talk about Davos. And Davos is happening this week, where it has, most of the world leaders and people that have lots of resources and money. And we're going to start with Bill Gates. We're going to start with him and his walking interview.
The WEF this year is spirit of dialogue. Let's have a conversation, an open dialogue. Can you answer some of these questions? Mr. Gates, can I ask you what you think about the United States, the HHS and the CDC lowering the childhood vaccine schedule? What do you think about that? Mr. Gates, what do you think about the HHS lowering the vaccine schedule in the USA? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Mr. Gates, I'm a student from Columbia. I'm building a startup that aims to democratize access to education. Can I just have 10 seconds of your time? I don't share my idea with you.
Mr. Gates, given the complications that came out from the COVID vaccine, do you think that it was actually wrong to push such a thing on the world? No answers? Mr. Gates, can you at least accept now that it is public?
I find it interesting, especially this woman over here. She's just grinning and smiling and taking selfies like, it's Bill Gates. This man is a murderer, allegedly, I'll say. Talking about injecting GMOs in little kids' arms. He is disgusting. He needs to be in prison somewhere. A deep one. Okay? For the crimes of humanity that he's committed around the globe. Just to one continent. And I'll call that Africa, where he went in and injected children with all kinds of heinous things, to the point where there are certain countries he's not allowed to go in. Yeah, I think he's still up for crimes, like international crimes. I want to say Kennedy was talking about that last year. Yeah, he needs to be in prison. Just my opinion.
Domain and common knowledge that the COVID vaccine was basically a failure. Can you accept that and at least apologize to the world for getting it wrong? It's okay to get things wrong if you admit you get things wrong when you are wrong. Can you do that? Come on, Bill. The theme of the WEF this year is spirit of dialogue. Let's have a conversation, an open dialogue. Can you answer some of these questions? Okay, how about ignore these questions if there were complications with the COVID vaccine and you got things wrong and people were harmed and died?
Sorry. All right. Thanks so much.
Bill, can you at least answer one of those questions? Look, well, actually, you're walking in my way. Bill, often they say, you know, we should trust the experts when it comes to vaccination. Yet, how are you an expert? You work in computers, you don't work in medicine, yet you seem to know so much about it. Why can't we answer these? Bill, are these people telling you what to do because you are losing your mind? You don't look very with it today. Mr. Gates? No. Now, he's being pushed around. He almost looks like Joe Biden towards the end of his premiership, where he would just walk aimlessly around the place, almost like maybe he's had too many vaccines and it's causing brain damage. You saw his people going, no, Bill, this way.
But there's Bill Gates being confronted. It's not just that he's not a scientist. He goes out with Gavi and gets billions of dollars and literally finances the international bodies, the UN and the boards that control not just the so-called vaccines, but medicine in general and policy and treaties. His dad headed up Planned Parenthood. His mother took over the Eugenics Society when Thomas Watson at IBM died. That was the main global eugenics depopulation group. Watson designed Hitler's final solution. Look it up. You cannot make this up. And so there's the arrogant Bill Gates out there being hit with fact after fact. The guy did a great job other than, you're not a scientist, how are you controlling our lives? He is a death scientist. It's not just that he is, shouldn't be in charge. It's how is he in charge? He's bought off all the major institutions and groups with his foundation.
Okay. And I will definitely post a link to the rest of that. But I wanted to share something with you because I think a lot of times we forget that even though he is a philanthropist, he has investments, right? So I wanted to check out some of these investments. So Bill Gates holds investments in food-related companies primarily through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's trust and his investment firm, Cascade Investment. These are typically minority stakes rather than full ownership, focusing on processed foods, plant-based alternatives, and agricultural tech. Okay. Isn't that weird? Agricultural tech. When did agriculture become a technology? Yeah, that's what's happening. So the Coca-Cola Foundation, he holds approximately 604 million shares. In Kraft, he holds 97 million shares. In Hormel Foods, he's got a 0.38% stake valued at around 51 million. Beyond Meat, Gates has invested personally and through Breakthrough Energy Ventures. He has an early backer and held shares via the Foundation Trust until 2019. That's where he was. Impossible Foods. So Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. Gates has invested personally and through Breakthrough Energy Ventures. That's the venture. He backed the company in funding rounds, including $75 million investment in 2017. Upside Foods, formerly Memphis Meats, investment through Breakthrough Ventures in lab-grown meat. So that's what Upside Foods is. Good Meat, it's an investment in lab-grown meat via Breakthrough Energy Ventures. Appeal Sciences, that's a backed for a food preservation technology. Savor investment is a synthetic butter from carbon. Gates has personally invested into that. Pivot Bio, Benson Hill, Natured Fend investments in agricultural biotech and alternative proteins through Breakthrough Ventures. Walmart and Coca-Cola, FEMSA, the foundation holdings in retail and bottling, with Walmart at 1.8 6% of the portfolio, about 9 million shares. And then Coca-Cola FEMSA at 2.96%. Now, in the drug and pharmaceutical companies that are either owned or invested, BioNTech, the foundation holds 17.5% of the portfolio, nearly 148,000 shares at 15.7 million. Now, BioNTech, they have a COVID vaccine, just to let you know. So that's there. Vir Biotechnology, a top holding in the foundation's biotech focused portfolio. Immunocore, another major biotech stake in the foundation's portfolio. Pfizer, investments in partnerships, including for vaccines and contraceptives. The foundation has held shares and collaborated on initiatives like COVID-19, vaccines, and HIV programs. Merck and Company, historical investments and ongoing partnerships for HIV and other initiatives, held shares in the past. Johnson & Johnson, past holdings in 2009, but partnerships continue for global health. GlaxoSmithKline, investments via foundation and collaborations on vaccines. West Pharmaceutical Services, the trust holds 0.2 to 0.3 stake, valued at around 117 million. And in other partnerships, AstraZeneca, Bayer, Bristol Myers Squibb, Eli Lilly, Gilead, Novartis, Roche, Sanofi, through COVID-19 and other health commitments. So, wow. So he's got his hand in like every major pharmaceutical. Eli Lilly, anybody ever heard of those? You've seen the commercials. Yeah. And even though people are like, well, he's just an investor there. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't have influence. Yeah. Now he also owns land in this country. And so in Louisiana, he's got 69 to 70,000 acres, and those crops are soybean, corn, cotton, and rice. I don't trust it. Okay. I don't trust any of it, especially with the appeal. And then we're going to get into appeal in a second. Arkansas, 47 to 48,000 soybeans, corn, and rice. Nebraska, he owns 20,000 acres, soybeans. Arizona, he's got various crops, 25 to 26,000 acres. In Washington, he's got over 14,000 acres. Has process for McDonald's fries. Now, it's interesting because McDonald's French fries has like a chemical list that reads like a rap sheet. It's not. Are they potatoes? Are they? Why are there so many ingredients in potatoes? It should be potatoes and salt and whatever other oil you're using. No? Okay. Now in Florida, there's not a significant acreage, but he grows carrots. Now in Georgia, there's 6,000 sold recently, various crops. Not sure what he's growing there. And then other states, Wyoming for TerraPower, nuclear, and sites in Illinois and Indiana, etc. The remaining balance of his total acreage, it's mixed agricultural and non-farm uses. Now I know that people were talking about places where he was had the meat labs, so maybe those are the places. Now I did ask about appeal, and is it okay for human consumption? Now it's specifically products like Edipil, that's what they're calling it. It's an edible plant-based coating applied to fruits and vegetables to extend shelf life by reducing moisture loss and oxidation. It mimics the natural protective layer cuticle found on produce. So yes, produce that has a natural layer, but once you cut into it, like your apples start turning brown for a while if you don't put lemon on them, right? It's oxidation. It's supposed to protect from that. Who asked for this? I didn't ask for this. Did you ask for this? Because I don't want it. I do not want anything artificial on my food, but that's who this person is. If you looked at Bayer, Monsanto, those are the MGO people. So appeal coatings primarily consist of mono and diglycerides, also known as E471 or INS471, which are purified plant-derived fats naturally present in many foods, and the peels, pulp, and seeds of fruits and vegetables, and commonly used in products like baby formula, baked goods, dairy, and nut butters. For certain versions, like the discontinued organopeel for organic produce, it included citric acid and baking soda. These ingredients are not synthetic chemicals, but simple lipids extracted from plant sources. Now, the USDA has reviewed appeals submission multiple times, okay, and has no questions regarding the company's conclusion that mono and diglycerides are generally recognized as safe, right? So GRAS for use as a surface finishing agent on produce. This means experts consider them safe under intended conditions, including an edible coating. Now, similar approvals exist internationally. The Codex Alimentarius, UNFAO, and HWO standards, EFSA, the European Food and Safety Authorities, and bodies like the UK's Food Standards Agency have evaluated mono and diglycerides as safe with no numerical acceptable daily intake limit needed due to low toxicology concern. They are metabolized like normal dairy fats. Why do I need normal dairy fats on my apple? Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Why are you messing with my food? Nobody asked for this. I didn't ask for this. Why are you messing with our food supply? That's my question. No one asked for this. Nobody voted for this. We voted to get rid of this. So, HHS, I need you to get with this and shut it down. Now, regulatory reviews support safety and exposures from the coating considered negligible and well below potential risk. Now, here are some of the concerns. Some online discussions raise questions about trace residues from manufacturing, but regulatory filing indicates these are below safety limits and do not pose health risk. And here is what they're talking about. Solvents like ethyl acetate. Oh, wow. That's like nail polish remover. Okay. Or heptane or heavy metals like lead, arsenic in minute minute amounts. Okay. So claims of hidden ingredients, trans fats, or inability to wash it off. But appeal states the coating is edible. It doesn't matter if it's edible. I don't want it in my body. That's the thing. Nobody asked for this. So washable with water scrubbing, free of trans fats and free of major allergens. Much misinformation stems from confusing appeal science's edible product with unrelated cleaning products sharing the name appeal, which have hazard warnings and industrial use, not food. Some critics argue that more transparency or independent long term studies on chronic low level exposure, especially for sensitive individuals, but no credible evidence from reputable sources shows harm from consumption. But here's my thing, you're saying you show no harm. Where are these studies? Because I'm allergic to stuff. Like, I'm allergic to corn. So if it has maltodextrin in it, or if it has any type of modified food starch in it, which I don't know, because you're like really secretive about it. And see, that's my problem. You just put it out in the general public, didn't tell anybody about it, didn't warn anybody about it. Say, we're just using this to keep you safe. We just want the apples to keep their form and look pretty. Nobody asked for this. I don't care if the apples look like crap. As long as they're not rotten, I'm good. It's fresh food for a reason. You have to eat it quickly. If an apple is sitting around for 2 weeks, still looking the same, I'm questioning that, okay? I'm not going to eat it. Stop it. No one asked for this. It's crazy. So for organic produce, older versions like Organapeel face scrutiny over approval processes, but Appeal has noted discontinued use of certain formulations. Y'all are trying to poison us. I'm just going to say it allegedly. Nobody asked for this. Okay. So the overall assessment, based on official regulatory evaluations from the FDA, EFSA, and the WHO related bodies and other authorities, appeal is considered safe for human consumption. And when used as intended, what does that even mean? The ingredients have a long history of safe use in foods. It does, because I've just heard about it last year. So how is this long? It's stuff like this that drives me nuts. Let me calm down. And the coating is designed to be fully edible. Independent fact checks from AP, Reuters, USA Today have debunked many alarmist claims and misrepresentations. That doesn't tell me that you're not messing with my food. Stop playing with my food. That said, if you have any specific health concerns, sensitivities to emulsifiers or fats, like I said, it's really weird, prefer avoiding processed coatings or want maximum transparency, you can opt for uncoated produce or wash, scrub thoroughly. Many retailers label appeal treated items with a sticker or logo for easy identification. Actually, Grok, you're wrong. They don't. They don't tell you. And you don't know what has appeal on it or doesn't. Because they don't have to tell you, by the way. They don't have to identify anything that has on there. So I'm encouraging you guys, if you know of a local farmer or grocer, start getting your food from there, or really look at your food, because you'll know if it has appeal on it or not. Or, maybe look up stores that use appeal so you can avoid those grocers. I did ask for the meat, and if it included had insect protein in there, because some of them do. Some of these, it's like, oh, this is vegan meat and all the other stuff. You putting crickets and all kind of other bugs in there. It's gross. It's gross. Look it up. I'm just saying, look it up, guys. So no, the meat alternative process associated with Bill Gates' investments, such as Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, Upside Foods, formerly Memphis Meats, and Good Meat, do not contain insect protein, cricket, mealworm, or other bug-derived ingredients. I still don't believe that. These are distinct categories of alternative proteins, and there's no evidence from official ingredient list, company statements, or regulatory approvals that insects are using them, because they put them under different names. I'll have to, go in with Grok and do some more studying. But yeah, they call it like creatine, some weird long name that you would think it's probably a chemical, and it might be bugs. I'm just saying, look at your stuff. So these are the ones that are available: Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, and that's what they use. Methicellulose is something I'm trying to get away from, but it's interesting because between Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods, it's like, yeah, they're plant-based. They have so many chemicals in there. There's no plants in there. It's all chemicals, and they call it plant-based food. It's really weird. Like, okay, it's supposed to be pea protein isolate. What even is that? Okay, so it's a powder. You got fava beans. Okay, good. Brown rice protein, coconut oil, other plant fats. But then when you get into the binders, the methicellulose, what are natural flavors? Why do we have natural flavors? I want to know what natural flavors are. I need to demand that from the FDA, because I do not want to eat something. If it might be biosludge. You know what biosludge is? That's human remains. Okay. We need to be told what's put into our food, period. Now, claims online suggest these include cricket flour, mealworm protein, or hidden insect ingredients are unfounded and often stem from misinformation, confusion with separate insect protein startups, or satirical exaggerated posts. Fact checks and company disclosures consistently debunk this. Okay, so some concerns do exist around these products, but not related to insects. So it's ultra processed nature, right? High in sodium, saturated fats from the coconut oil, and additives like binders or flavor enhancers. Now, processing aids, pea protein, and Beyond Meat involve hexane, a solvent though residues are minimal and regulated as safe. Other additives, GMO, soy, are impossible, right? And that could be that with levoglobin produce via yeast fermentation deemed safe by the FDA. Just because somebody deems it safe doesn't mean it's good for you. Okay, these are common points of debate for anyone avoiding heavily processed foods, but they're not insect related or uniquely concerning compared to many conventional processed foods. So the cultivated meat, right? These are cell-based products grown from animal cells, chicken in the case approved in the US. So Upside Foods cultivated chicken primarily sell cultivated chicken cells with minor additional like maltodextrin, which is, like I said, this is derived from corn. I can't eat it and it breaks my face out. So those are things that I know I have to avoid. So I couldn't even eat this. But unless you knew maltodextrin is derived by corn, you wouldn't even know what that was. And it's the processing that it goes through. So it's not even corn by the time it gets to here. Transglutamase, a binding enzyme used in conventional meat products as well, which is crazy. Good meat, similar cultured chicken cells combined with plant-based scaffolds or binders in some formations, but no insect components. I still think it's gross that they're using the cell line from chickens. Why don't we just have chickens? Oh, that's right, because you want something to taste like chicken, but you don't want to eat chicken because you may be a vegan or vegetarian. But it's one of those things like when you go that way, you're like, I don't want to eat meat. Why are you trying so hard to recreate meat? Just eat meat. I mean, I had to get to that resolve myself, because I want to go more plant-based. And when I want to have something, it's like there are times it's like, well, I just want to have some meat. I'm sorry, you guys. I give myself a reprieve and I just break down and I just eat the meat. Why am I sitting around trying to recreate meat? It's weird. It's weird. But that's what some people want to do. So I will definitely make sure to post the link for this later on so you guys can check that out. But thank you so much for joining me here today on Women in Wellness Wednesday. I know we did not have a guest join today, but hopefully we will have a guest join tomorrow. I wanted to get to another clip. I guess I'm going to have to play it tomorrow. It's the Trump administration at Davos. I just wanted to play a little bit of that video just so you guys can see where they're at, but I will hold that one off till tomorrow. Okay. But thank you guys so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And we will see you guys tomorrow. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.